قلبي انقطع عليك يا ما تبكيش يحكي ولا لحظة. شوفها انا اعرف وينهم المسلمين وينهم وينكم كيف تسمع انتم مع الله مرة لك القطار والشهداء بتموت وانتم تطلعوا فينا وينكم يا بلاد. Kaldır ya. Vallahi ne diyor abi? Ne diyor ya? Ya Allah! Bismillah!
All right, Shalom. All praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Chakodash. Peace and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that give us his truth and all his purity. And salutations to all you Akim pushing this word throughout the four corners of the earth and sincerity and the truth. I'm the brother Yahusap, and the topic of this lesson will be entitled, Where are the Arabs? And what will they do? Because right now you have all this tension in the Middle East, specifically in the land of Israel, between those Israelis claiming to be the chosen people of the Most High, which they are not. We know according to history, according to prophecy, they are the biblical Edomites. They are not descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But they're over there in the land, and they're wiping out those Palestinians, man, constantly dropping bombs on them. And as of yesterday, you have a Palestinian hospital that got bombed by Israel, which they say, oh, it wasn't them, it was Hamas, but we all know it's Israel. How is it every other bomb that's dropped is Israel except this one? You know what I'm saying? Because what? They look bad on the world stage. And you've even had the Israeli spokesperson tweet out that they were responsible for it, but once they start receiving a backlash, he deleted the tweet. Now all of a sudden, oh yeah, Hamas did it and all that bullshit. But you know, those Arabs, man, eventually they're going to end up rising up. And you're going to see the video and the post-production where you have all these different Arabs throughout the whole world, you know, throughout the Middle East and the world, protesting what Israel is doing to Palestine, you know. And the first video you're going to see is a boy that lost his sister. And what he said was, where are the Arabs? You know, you traitors, you cowards, you know, you start cursing them out. And that's the video that sparked me up to do this lesson, because it made me, you know, think about, you know, certain scriptures such as this in Genesis, the 16th chapter about Ishmael, and also the prophecy in 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, which, Lord's will, I'm going to get after this, going into how the dragons of Arabia is going to come together. You know, so all this tension is causing these Arabs, these heathens, to rise up against America, man, and against Israel. They're burning embassies, you know. They're taking out, you know, Israelis. You know, they're having so-called terror attacks throughout Europe and France. They just had one. I believe in Belgium they had another one. And the FBI director just warned that there's going to be in the coming weeks, there's going to be terror attacks on the soils of America from those people, man. So the stage is set, you know. So this third world war, you know, is right at the door, man. It's prophesied in the scriptures. So, you know, without further ado, let's jump into the scriptures in Genesis chapter 16, verse 10. It says, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And that is speaking to Hagar, the mother of all the Arabs, the mother of the Ishmaelites. So their seed is multiplied exceedingly. If you look at the Arab nations, man, it's a whole bunch of them, man. You talking Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Bahrain, you know, United Arab Emirates. What's the other one? Yemen, Lebanon. You know, all these countries over there in the Middle East, is a whole bunch of them. Egypt, even Libya. You know, Libya originally belonged to the Africans, but right now you got a lot of Arabs up in there, you know, ruling. So, you know, they are a great multitude, man. Verse 11, and the angel of the Lord said unto her, behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard thy affliction. So Ishmael means affliction heard, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see. It says God will hear. And the Hebrew word there is Yasha Ma'ai Allah. Yasha Ma'ai Allah. So there you go. It means God will hear. So it says, verse 12, and he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. So there you go. He shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. All these different countries in the Middle East, they're majority Arabs, you see? And he shall be a wild man. They will take a bomb, strap it to their chest, and blow themselves up in the name of Allah. That's a wild man right there, man. They're not scared of death, you know, because they believe they're going to receive 4 virgins and their version of the spirit realm, their kingdom of heaven. And it says his hand will be against every man. They always having conflict with other people, having terror attacks throughout different countries around the world. It says in every man's hand against them. That's why you got America up in there, Israel up in there, oppressing them, France, you know, you name it. Everybody's hand is against them. And we're going to see that prophecy really being fulfilled in this up and coming Third World War, where you're going to have all those nations and Europe, all those Edomite nations, they're gonna get together along with their allies, Japan and all these different countries that's siding with America and the West. They're gonna have their hands against these Arabs. And the scriptures talk about the Most High gathering the nations to bring them into the valley of Jehoshaphat, which is the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the Most High's judgment, which is the Middle East. And that's where the Most High is going to judge these nations for what they did unto us. But all the nations, they're going to be dragged right over there, and that's going to be the epicenter of World War III. And it says, yeah, that's the point on that. Now, let me get 2nd Ezra chapter 15. Verse 28, it says, behold, an horrible vision in the appearance thereof from the east. The east is talking about the Middle East, because that's where World War III is going to take place. It says, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the east wind upon the earth, as the wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So you're going to have all those different nations come out with many military equipment. We talking tanks, all other types of military vehicles, armory, missiles. They're going to come out with all of them, man. Saudi Arabia, they're all going to join together, man. It says, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the east wind upon the earth, that all they which hear them may fear and tremble. So it's going to be a dreadful thing to see that sight, man. Because these nations, a lot of them, especially Esau, Israel, they know Ishmael is a wild man. So once they see him get together, they're going to fear and tremble. The whole earth is going to fear and tremble, man, because they know it means World War III. And they're going to cause more terror attacks throughout the whole planet Earth, man. Throughout these European countries, they're already having so-called terror attacks, which a lot of them are false flags. But it's inciting other, Arabs to actually commit the same crimes. In France, you just had a terror attack, a stabbing, I believe, of a teacher that died. The FBI is warning of attacks over here on American soil. So, hey, man, everybody going to fear because they know these niggas don't play. So it says, also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. The Carmanians is the Iranians. So they're going to rage in wrath. They're already raging now, saying that if Israel invades Gaza, they're going to have to get involved. They're going to have to step a foot in, man. And I was reading this article where it was going into the different potential outcomes of World War III. And they mentioned that Iran, if Israel attacks Gaza and them Palestinians and Iran gets involved, they're going to cut off the Strait of Hormuz, which is a major shipping lane for oil. So if they cut that off, it's going to cause the price of oil to skyrocket. So the Carmanians, raging in wrath, shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood, and with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians. So they're going to join battle with the Arabs to waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians, man, which the land of the Assyrians is America. So they're going to have the allotted portion for them to destroy, just like Russia got a allotted portion for them to destroy, and all those different European nations. Because ultimately, according to prophecy, all nations will turn on America, which is Babylon the Great, and they're going to destroy her. So it says, and then shall the dragons have the upper hand, remembering their nature. And if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. So the dragons is going to have the upper hand in the battle in this Third World War. And they're going to remember their nature. They're going to remember that they're wild people. They already believe the Quran, which the Quran tells them to believe the Bible. It reiterates the Bible. So they're going to remember their nature of being a wild man. They're going to say, man, fuck it. Suicide bombers. You know what I'm saying? They just going to go all out. And it says, remembering their nature, and if they shall turn themselves, conspiring together in great power to persecute them. To persecute who? The so-called white man. Israel, America. It says, then these shall be troubled and keep silence through their power and shall flee. So a lot of those European armies, they're going to flee. once they meet with those Arabs, man. That's why the scriptures say the mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. You know, they just had a draft for Americans to sign up, and nobody signed up, man. Now they short 7,000 sailors, thousands of this amount in the army, thousands of this in this section, the Air Force. They're missing people, man, because nobody wants to fight this war, especially in this liberal age, man. Everybody's a liberal, everybody's a Saudi, so nobody's gonna want to fight in this Third World War, man. A lot of them is gonna flee. A lot of them gonna get drafted, shipped over there to the Middle East, put on the front lines just for them to run off. You know? So it says, and from the land of the Assyrians shall the enemy besiege them and consume some of them, and in their hosts shall be fear and dread and strife among their kings. So you're going to have strife and dread among their kings. Their different presidents is going to have problems with one another, because some of them, you know, they're still aligned with the beast. They're still aligned with America. You know, they're sold out. So you're going to have fear and strife among them, dread and strife among their kings. And it says, verse 34, behold, clouds from the east and from the north and from the south, and they are very terrible to look upon, full of wrath and storm. And that's going into what? The mushroom clouds from the missiles. They shall smite one upon another, and they shall smite down a great multitude of stars upon the earth. Now, when the missiles come down, they actually look like stars coming down. So that's going into the World War III, when the missiles is going to come down and strike different parts of the earth, mainly Babylon the Great, America. It says, even their own star, and blood shall be from the sword unto the belly. And it says, and dung of men even unto the camel's hoof. So you're going to have a lot of dead bodies piled up over there in the Middle East. This is why when you read Ezekiel, the 39th chapter, it speaks about how after World War III, pursuant to Ezekiel 38, which I'm going to get, it says that there's going to be so many dead bodies in the Middle East that we're going to take the heathens that's not Israelites as slaves, and we're going to have them clean up the land of Israel, which the land of Israel is not only the modern day Israel. You know, ancient Israel was way bigger than what you have today, but it consists of Lebanon, parts of Syria, parts of Saudi Arabia, I believe parts of Iraq, you know, parts of Egypt, you know, the land that the Most High promised into Abraham, I believe is in Genesis 15 or Genesis 16. That's a huge plot of land, man. That's why you got these devils up in the land. Their plan is to have a greater Israel project, where they want to take over all these lands that surround them, because they know that's the biblical blessing unto the sons of Jacob, which they are not the sons of Jacob, but they think they're going to fulfill their prophecy, you know. So they're going to have to clean up that whole landmass, man. We talking millions and millions and millions of dead bodies, man, being piled up in the Middle East. So it says, and there shall be great fearfulness and trembling upon earth, and they that see the wrath shall be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them. Yeah, people are going to be troubled once they hear World War III. Once they hear they're going to have to be drafted. A lot of people going to go into so what I'm looking for. Basically, they're going to go running, man. They're going to flee to the mountains. They're going to try to hide to not be drafted, man. So all they that see the wrath, they're going to be afraid, and trembling shall come upon them, man. They're going to be afraid once they see the war already pops off. And that Middle East region is pretty much going to be like a blender, a meat grinder. Men going to get sent there, and they are not coming back. They're not coming back to tell the tale on how the war was and what they experienced, you know, doing documentaries. No. Once your asses go out there, you are not coming back, man. And they're gonna see it, and they're gonna know it, man. Once they see their family members, people they know, get sent out there, and they don't come back, you know, it's good, man. and this thing is gonna be what's the word I'm looking for? It's gonna be very it's gonna be short intervals, you know, between the time that somebody gets drafted, gets snatched off the streets, and gets sent to the Middle East to the point of the next draft. So let's say, for example, today they snatch up a few thousand men and send them to the Middle East. By next week or within the same month, they're already looking for new bodies to fill up those spots because those men already died. That's how bad it's gonna get, man. But it says, verse 38, and then shall there come great storms from the south and from the north and from in another part from the west, which those storms is going into the nuclear wrath. It says, and strong winds shall arise from the east and shall open it, and the cloud which he raised up in wrath, and the star stirred up to cause fear toward the east and west wind shall be destroyed. So that's going into the missiles, man. How the missiles gonna come down and they're gonna smite the whole planet Earth, man. That's why the scriptures say the earth is gonna rear to and fro like a drunkard. It says, the great and mighty clouds shall be lifted up full of wrath. What? The mushroom clouds, and the star that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein, and they shall pour out over every high and eminent place an horrible star. Every high and eminent place is talking about the global powers, America, Russia, China, all them different major powers with nuclear weapons. They're gonna get smitten with those nuclear missiles, man. So it says, fire and hail and fleeing swords in many waters, that all fields may be filled, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. So fire and hail and fleeing swords is going into the missiles, man. You see, it says that in many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And the scriptures liken this nuclear destruction unto the flood. Matthew 24:37, as in the days of Noah, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. They shall be eating, drinking, and giving in marriage unto the day that Noah went into the ark. So that represents nuclear wrath. Same thing that was happening during the time of Noah. People were going about the day-to-day activities, and then the destruction came. So it says, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows, and their corn. Yeah, so the scriptures say in 2 Peter the 3rd chapter that the day of the Lord is going to come as a thief in the night, and to which the heavens is going to pass away with a great noise, and the elements is going to melt with fervent heat, and the earth and the works that are therein shall be burnt up. So that's going into the nuclear wrath. It's going to burn down cities, walls, mountains, hills, trees of the wood, grass of the meadow, and their corn. So everything is going to get wiped out. It says, and they shall go steadfastly into Babylon and make her afraid. Babylon, according to the scriptures, Babylon the Great is America. So those missiles, they're going to come to America, and everybody's going to be afraid, man. You see? And it says, they shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven, and all that be about her shall bewail her. So the dust and smoke is going to go up into the heaven. And that's the judgment that's prophesied unto Babylon the Great. In Revelation the 18th chapter, it says that her sins have reached unto heaven and is lifted up to the skies, and how the nations, once they see the smoke of her burning, they're going to bewail her because they made so much money with America. So for America to be destroyed is going to cut off their profits. And on top of that, a lot of these nations, they have family members here in America, man. So they're going to bewail her, man. You see? So now let's go to Ezekiel, the 30th chapter. Chapter 38 verse, I'm going to start at 2. It says, Son of man, set thy face against Gog, the land of Magog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tubal, and prophesy against them. Now Gog and Magog is the modern day Russia, and chief prince of Meshech and Tubal is in Russia as well. And when you look into the word Russia, the Hebrew word is Ra'ash, which means chief prince. Matter of fact, no, that's not it. Was it chief prince that I looked up? What was the word I looked up? Because I remember I looked it up the other day. There you go. All right, so you know what? Let me read 3. It says, and say, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, behold, I am against thee, O Gog, the chief prince of Meshech and Tabor. Now, when you look into the word chief, the word there is Ra'ash, and that's where you get the word Russia from. So it says head, top, summit, upper part, chief, total, some height, front, beginning, head, but you get the point. The chief prince is Russia, Vladimir Putin. It says of Meshech and Tabor. It says, and I will turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws, and I will bring thee forth in all thine army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. So the Lord said he's going to put hooks into their jaws and turn them back. Because at one point, Russia was in hibernation. You know, the Soviet Union got dismantled and they kind of got pussified, you know. But the Lord said, I would turn thee back and put hooks into thy jaws. And that really started happening when Vladimir Putin took power. That's the one who really started making change in Russia. You see, it says, in order an army, horses and horsemen, all of them clothed with all sorts of armor, even a great company with bucklers and shields, all of them handling swords. And that represents their tanks, you know, their military equipment that they have. Which, let me look it up. There you go. You see these? That's what the scriptures speak about. Because the scriptures is not going to say a tank, you know. It's not going to mention those modern terms because those terms didn't exist in the time of the prophets. Those are modern day English terms, you see. So that's the shields and bucklers, you see. Because what does a shield and buckler do? It's a protection. And what is a tank? It's a protection. That's why they stay up in there and they can't really get touched. You can shoot bullets at it. It won't get touched. Certain missiles won't even affect it. You know, they got anti-tank missiles that could target them, you know? So that's the bucklers and shields that the scriptures speak about. So it's going to be many tanks, many military equipment over there. And that's not the only thing they got. They got stuff like this. They got stuff that could go through different bodies of water, amphibian vehicles. You know, look at that. You see, so we gotta put these scriptures. You know, we gotta put them to life. There you go. This is a great picture right here. It says, oh, Russia flaunts captured Western weapons from Ukraine. So this is from Ukraine. You could clearly see the Ukrainian flag on it. But Russia has the same type of vehicles too. You see? Bucklers and shields, man. This is it right here, man. I like looking this stuff up, man. Puts World War III, you know, the vivid image. You could see it, man. All these getting shipped to the Middle East to go fight against Israel and against America and the Western powers, man. All of this. You see? Yeah, they show them they got this show, but that's going to happen a lot too. You know, in the Middle East, a lot of those equipments are going to be destroyed. And this is why nations are going to go into massive debt, because they're going to borrow from the IMF, you know, from the international bankers to go into war, you know, which we know, according to history, all wars are bankers' wars. They fund both sides of the war. So Russia, China, and them, they're going to get funded by the elites too. You see? And guess what? Every time this happens, they're going to have to get new ones. And what's going to take place is they're going to have concentration camps. They're going to have people that they force to work to produce these kind of vehicles, to produce the ammunition, you know, the tires for those vehicles, the lights, you know. So what happens during world wars? You have bigger nations take advantage of smaller nations. So they're going to have, you know, third world countries mining for, you know, whatever they're looking for, whether it be gold or whether it be copper, whether it be rubber, whether it be, stuff for bullet, you know. So a lot of smaller nations, they're going to get oppressed. And they might have to get drafted in these bigger nations' world wars, man. You see, so it says, verse 5, it says, Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya with them, all of them with shield and helmet. So there you go. Persia is Iran. So Iran is going to join in with Russia. It says Ethiopia, and Ethiopia has different deals with Russia. Matter of fact, let me see if I can look it up. They're having talks. See? There you go. Can't really see it clearly. Hold on. You see? And Russia just forgave. Matter of fact, let me see if I can look it up. Russia forgave Africa debt. Look, Somalia says Russia grants relief on debt worth $684 million. Now, the Somalians, they're Ethiopians too. They're the same people. They're the Cushites. And if you look at history, Somalia was originally a part of Ethiopia. You see? Putin promises grains debt write-off as Russia seeks African allies. Russia writes off $23 billion debt for Africa. You see, $23 billion in debt from Africa got wiped out. So you can see how when the scriptures say, I'm going to keep reading, it says Gomer and all his bands, which is, Gomer is Turkey. Matter of fact, let me see if I could find something on that too. Look, Turkey's Erdogan, because I think that's how you say his name, Erdogan or Erdogan, whatever, says he trusts Russia just as much as I trust the West. So I guess, hold on, let me see. Does he mean that he doesn't trust Russia? Let's see. Yeah, I'm not reading all of that. Matter of fact, let me back out. See, I have no reason not to trust him, Erdogan said. Yeah, because, Turkey's a part of NATO. So basically what he's saying is, I trust the West, so I trust Russia too. You see? U.S. sanctions Turkey for aiding Russia. You see? So they're catching hell for siding with Russia, but this is prophecy, man. Gomer is going to join with Russia and all his bands, the house of Togarmah of the North Quarters, and all his bands and many people with thee. So many people with thee, which includes a lot of those African nations, man. So it's going to be Russia, Iran, Ethiopia, which is Ethiopia, Somalia, and that whole Eastern African region. And who else? I mentioned Turkey. And then you're going to have those African nations. Different parts of Africa is going to join in together. That's what it means by many people with thee. So it mentions those nations, but you're going to have other nations that join in with them too. You see, you're going to have a lot of those satellite states that used to be originally a part of Russia. They're going to join in Russia too. So it says, be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them. Russia is a guard unto those nations. Russia is protecting them. That's why you see a lot of those countries now, they're going straight to Russia to ask them for aid, to ask them for support, Even have smaller countries like Haiti, man, trying to get aid from Russia and shit, trying to get help to freedom from America. You see, because the whole earth is tired of America, Babylon the Great, the hem of the earth. And they're trying to go to Russia, for as an alternative. But they're Edomites too. That's why we read, the Lord said, set thy face against Gog. You see, they're Edomites too. They're so-called white people too. So the Most High is not dealing with them. Verse 8, after many days shalt thou be visited, and the latter years, which is the last days, the times that we're living in now, thou shalt come into the land that is brought back from the sword, and is gathered out of many people, against the mountains of Israel, which have been always waste, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. So Russia is going to come up against the land of Israel, because they're going to have to join Iran in this World War III, you see? And China is going to have to get involved too. That's part of the many people that are with Russia. China is going to get involved. North Korea is going to get involved. It's literally going to be a world war where all nations is going to have to send their armies over there to the Middle East, man. That's why it's known as Armageddon, the Valley of Troops, man, in the Hebrew. So it says, but it is brought forth out of the nations, and they shall dwell safely, all of them. Now it's talking about the people of Israel being saved from their captivity. You see, it says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. So now, let me see. You know, we got to envision, you know, what the scriptures talk about, man. You see, like a storm, man. They're gonna drop off them troops. It's gonna look like a storm. And what does a storm do? Destroy. And ultimately, that's going into the missiles. It says, thou shalt ascend and come like a storm. Thou shalt be like a cloud to cover the land. Thou and all thy bands and many people with thee. China's gonna be up in there too. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, it shall come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. And the evil thought is going to be Vladimir Putin giving the order for the missiles to get shot off. Verse 11, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. Yeah, so that's talking about America, man. They don't have any bars nor gates. You see, you come to America, cities are not fenced off. And majority of the world, you know, they follow after America. So you don't have this ancient way of cities having fences around them, you know. But, you know, America's so well off that they don't have, you know, any walls, anything really as a protection around them, you know. So, this is Zephaniah chapter 2, verse 15. This is the rejoicing city that dwelt carelessly, which is America, that said in her heart, I am, and there is none beside me. How has she become a desolation, a place for beasts to lie down in? Everyone that passeth by her shall hiss and wag his hand, which is the prophecy about Babylon the Great. So America, they dwell carelessly. They don't have any walls or gates, you know. They don't think anybody could take them down, man. You see? So let's go back. And it says, verse 12, it says, to take a spoil and to take a prey, to turn thine hand upon the desolate places that are now inhabited, America, and upon the people that are gathered out of the nations which have gotten cattle, goods that dwell in the midst of the land. Sheba and Dedan and the merchants of Tarshish with all the young lions thereof shall say unto thee, art thou come to take a spoil? Hast thou gathered thy company to take a prey? To carry away silver and gold, to take away cattle and goods, to take a great spoil. You see, so the nation's they're gonna be in fear, man, once they see Russia and their army. You know, like, hey, man, you coming to invade us? You know, and a lot of them are just going to join Russia, man. Therefore, son of man, prophesy and say unto God, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, in that day when my people of Israel dwell safely, shalt thou not know it, and thou shalt come from thy place out of the north parts, thou and many people with thee, all of them riding upon horses in a great company and a mighty army. And thou shalt come up against my people of Israel as a cloud to cover the land. It shall be in the latter days, and I will bring thee against my land, that the heathen may know me, when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. So Russia's going to come up against the people of Israel, which is not talking about the people in the land now. It's talking about the Israelites that's dwelling here in America, because eventually Russia is going to invade. Russia, China, Iran, Turkey, North Korea, all these different nations that's against America, they're going to invade America. And this is going to be in the midst of Jacob's trouble. You know, where you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans, the Lord said 2/3 of you, you're going to be destroyed. You're going to be cut off and die for not taking heed unto his words. So therefore, when these Russians invade, they're going to take niggas out because they don't like niggas anyways, because they're still so-called white people, man. So it says that the heathen may know me when I shall be sanctified in thee, O God, before their eyes. So the Most High is going to be sanctified in Russia by using them to wipe out America and different parts of the planet, man. That's how the Lord is going to be exalted, man, through this third world war. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua power. Art thou he of whom I have spoken in old time by my servants the prophets of Israel, which prophesied in those days many years that I will bring thee against them, and it shall come to pass at the same time when Gog shall come up against the land of Israel, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushua power, that my fury shall come up in my face. For in my jealousy and in the fire of my wrath have I spoken. Surely in that day there shall be a great shaking in the land of Israel. Isaiah 24. Matter of fact, real quick, Isaiah chapter 24, verse 20. The earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard. Matter of fact, let me jump up. This is Isaiah chapter 24, verse start at 18. It says, and it shall come to pass that he who fleeth from the noise of the fear shall be taken into the pit, and he that cometh up out of the midst of the pit shall be taken in the snare, for the windows from on high are open, and the foundations of the earth do shake. So what it's saying is, you're not gonna be able to take to save yourselves, you know, from this coming nuclear destruction, man. You know, Amos, what is it, the 5th chapter, you know, 5 and 18, you know. It says, woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. To what end is it for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, you know, and flee from the bear and went into the house, you know, and lead his hand on the wall and the serpent bit him. So you're not going to be able to escape this coming nuclear wrath, man. You're not going to be able to hop on a plane. You know, you hear missiles is coming. You got 30 minutes. You just hop on a private jet and get up out of here. Or, you know, you get in a car, go through to Mexico. No, you're not going to be able to escape, man. You see? So it says, for the windows from on high are open and the foundations of the earth do shake. The windows from on high represents the sky. You know, it's open and it's going to shake the foundations of the earth. It says the earth is utterly broken down. The earth is clean dissolved. The earth is moved exceedingly. And the only thing that has the power to do that is nuclear missiles. You know, it's going to melt the elements with fervent heat. It's going to shake the heavens and the earth. Verse 20, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, and shall be removed like a cottage, and the transgressions thereof shall be heavy upon it, and it shall fall and not rise again. So once America falls, it's not going to be able to bounce back as it did during the Renaissance period. You know, really in 1776, but the Renaissance was the beginning period, you know, for them coming back into rulership. You see? So it shall fall and not rise again. So it's over for America, Babylon the Great. So now let's go back to Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 20. It says, so that the fishes of the sea and the fowls of the heaven and the beasts of the field and all creeping things that creep upon the earth and all men that are upon the face of the earth shall shake at my presence, and the mountains shall be thrown down, and the steep places shall fall, and every wall shall fall to the ground. So the mountains is going to fall. The different governments around the planet, they're going to fall once this Third World War comes. And the whole planet is going to be in fear, man. The scriptures say that every knee is going to bow to Yahweh Shah, whether things in heaven and things in earth and things under the earth. So all the animals is going to be afraid in this Third World War, you know, because Yahweh Shah is coming in the midst of it as well. So they're going to see the missiles coming. They're going to see Yahweh Shah up in the sky with the chariots, the so-called UFOs. And everybody's going to bow before the Lord, you see? So every wall is going to fall to the ground. That's literal. The whole entire planet Earth infrastructure is going to crumble, man. You see? All the buildings that's in Europe and Asia, Middle East, they all going to crumble. This is why the kingdom of heaven is going to take 1,000 years, you know, for it to be built. Because it's a lot of debris that's going to have to be cleaned out. You know, starting with mainly the land of Israel, But we're going to branch out. All right, so now you clean Israel. Who's next? The rest of the Middle East. And then who's next? Let's go to Europe, Asia, Africa, and clean up those debris over there, man. So that's going to be the job of the slaves, the other heathen nations that are not Israelites. It talks about that in the next chapter, Ezekiel 39. It says, and I will call for a sword against them throughout all my mountains, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Ashah. Every man's sword shall be against his brother. So the hymn is speaking about the so-called white man. The Most High is going to call for a sword against them. You see, throughout all governments, every man's sword shall be against his brother. Because here it is, those European countries, Russia and America, they all brothers, but they all going to turn against one another. Just like now, you know, you got China and Taiwan. They're the same people, but their hands is going to be one against another. North Korea and South Korea, they're the same brothers, but their hands is going to be one against another. Vietnam, they're the same people, but their hands is going to be one against another. You see? Every man's sword shall be against his brother, man. You see? And let's prove that too. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 5. It says, for my sword shall be bathed in heaven. The sword of the Lord is talking about the nuclear missiles. It's going to go up in the space, in the sky. It's going to be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, Edom, the so-called white race, and upon the people of my cursed judgment. The sword of the Lord is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For the Lord Yahweh Bashim Ashah have a sacrifice in Basra, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, which is America being decimated, man. You know, the Lord is going to use this place as a sacrifice. You see? So the blood of lambs and goats is talking about the blood of Israelites. You know, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans that don't repent. They're going to receive the same judgment as the so-called white man. You see, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. You see, so that's going into these different nations. All the nations that dwell here in America, they're going to be a sacrifice for this up and coming nuclear destruction. So back in Ezekiel chapter 38, verse 22, it says, and I will plead against him with pestilence and with blood, and I will rain upon him and upon his bands and upon the many people that are with him, overflowing rain and great hailstones, fire and brimstone. So fire and brimstone is talking about the nuclear missiles, you see? And they tested the soil of Sodom and Gomorrah, and they found out that the soil, the glass that they found there was pottery that got turned into glass. And they said the only place they found that before was in the nuclear testing sites over there in America. I forgot the exact place. It might be Nevada or some shit. But they had deserts where they were testing nuclear missiles. And they said that's the only place they found that same type of element, which shows you that Sodom and Gomorrah, they were burned with some kind of nuclear fire. So America's following after the Sodom and Gomorrah. The same acts that they was partaking in, America's partaking in. So it's going to receive the same judgment, but times 1,000, times 1,000,000. You can't even, hey, man, you can't even really put a number to it, what the Lord about to do to this place, man. So it says, verse 23, thus will I magnify myself and sanctify myself, and I will be known in the eyes of many nations, and they shall know that I am the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shah. So the Lord is going to be made known in that day. That's how the whole earth is going to learn to fear Yahweh Bashim Shah. Once they see that wrath, and they're going to see Yahweh Shah in the midst of that wrath, and they're going to know it's coming from him, every nation is going to crumble. They're going to fear, they're going to get on their knees and worship Yahweh Bashim Shah. But that's pretty much it on that. You know, I hope this lesson was edifying. I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashim Shah, Bashim Chakudash. Peace and double honor to the apostles and elders of GMS that give us his truth and all his purity. And salutations to all you Akim preaching this word throughout the four corners of the earth in sincerity and the truth. Shalom.